everybody. Welcome to RiverCity-Media's Beyond the Booth. I'm the Howard Chaney, along with the man that's always on here, the guy right below me, Mr. Phil Harris. Phil, how's everything going tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Looking forward to another podcast. Enjoy having all these on, especially, when we get Coach on, but when we have the young ladies on too with, as guests, it all makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We got four special guests tonight. So we usually keep everybody between 45 minutes an hour. So to get all four of you in there, we got to get started, get the ball rolling, I guess you can say. So joining us tonight is the Covenant College softball coach, Coach Bill Higley, along with three of his players. Coach, thanks for joining us, and tell us a little bit about this past season.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. It's exciting for us to have this opportunity to represent our school and to be a part of your show. So we're grateful for that. Thank you. Yeah, our season. Wow. So that's a big loaded question. We actually began games in early February. We played over in Mississippi and ended up end of April to wrap up our season. We had a very, all things considered, I think we had a really good season. And we only had really three starters, probably 2.5, because one of them got hurt right before the beginning of the season, literally the day before our first game, our starting shortstop. So shortstop was an adventure for us all year long. I'm grateful for those who stepped in, but we were asking people to play out of position, and that's hard for them. But our shortstop did come back, and that was really good at the end of the season. But we had two others. Olivia is one of them. She's here on our call. And another one of our catchers and our third baseman. And for the most part, everybody else had playing time, but we didn't have a lot of depth of playing time. So it was a young team. It was a new team, obviously with a new coach. A lot of learning going on their part, a lot of learning and going on my part to figure out, who could do what and what they were good at and all those fun things. And I think with all that, and we really ended up having a very good season. We won 5 more games this year than we did last year. But I think even more importantly, we were just more competitive in the games that we played, even the ones we didn't win. For the most part, we were in every game that we played. I think we had one bad day. Unfortunately, it was a conference day against LaGrange, and we just didn't play well either game. And that hurt us in the long run because we ended up missing the playoffs by basically 2 games. And those were games we thought we could win, but obviously we didn't. So in the long run, that hurt us. But other than that, I think we had a very successful season. We had a lot of new people playing. We had a couple transfer people coming in. Charlie is one of them that's here on our call. It was fun having her. I didn't know what to expect because she had an injury last year. She had an elbow injury, which for a pitcher is usually not a good thing. And so we had no idea how she'd respond and what she'd be able to do, but she came back strong. And really, I think as the season went along, she got stronger and stronger. And by the end of the season, she was probably throwing her best. So, yeah, we were young, a lot of new players, a lot of new things going on. And I think all things considered, we had a successful season, and I'm looking forward to building on it for next year for sure.
Awesome. I'm going to come around to each of the ladies and let them introduce themselves, or let you introduce yourself, the ladies. Tell us what position you play, where you're at in school as far as freshman, sophomore, whatever, and give us a little outlook or post look, I guess you can say, as far as the season as well. Gracie, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, I'm Gracie. I'm from Dalton, Georgia, and I'm an upcoming junior. I play center field. And I would say almost like the same thing that Coach Higley said. Just we had a lot of growth. I would say a lot of spiritual growth, a lot of just family growth. And obviously the stats also went up, which isn't everything, but it helps in the long run. And I'm very excited to see what happens next year because I know some good things are coming for us, that's for sure.
Olivia, I'm anxious to hear from you because I think you were the one that was more nervous than anybody before we got started. So let's see what Olivia says.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm in Roswell, Georgia. I am a senior. I just graduated this past May. And I'm going to be teaching 2nd grade at Fellowship Christian School. And I was a catcher this year. And kind of echo what Coach Higley and Gracie have said. We had some tough years leading up into this season, but I'm just so proud of my girls and the growth that we've shown. We have a lot of strength that is going to be developed over the next couple of years, thanks to Coach Higley's awesome leadership. It was a big learning curve for all of us to kind of learn who Coach was and who each other were, and just trying to build this culture that is strong, not only on the field, but off the field. And I'm just excited to see where they'll go next, because I won't be a part of it, but I was really thankful to be a part of this year because it was just such a healing year. And I was just proud of my girls. They did great.
Awesome. Last but not least, Miss Charlie.
My name's Charlie. I'm from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I'm a rising junior, and I'm a pitcher. And just reflecting this past year, I think it was such a good year of like laying down a foundation, whether that's like our culture and just what we want to be a part of or known as. Having a young team with, not much experience, it was definitely just a moment for growth. And yeah, just echoing what all three have said so far.
Charlie, if you would, tell us what your major is.
I'm a sport management major.
Okay, Olivia, you're going to be a teacher. You're going to be in the working world this time next year. So best of luck to you, especially
She's
second
also-
grade.
She was also hired as a softball coach there too. So I'm excited to see
Yes.
her. Yeah.
Best of luck, second grade teacher, softball coach. Woo!
Thank you.
I'm not Catholic, but I'll give you Gracie, go ahead.
I'm majoring in elementary education.
Okay. Well, my part of the show is a little bit over with now until the end. I'll come back and I'll ask you a lot of personal questions that you think you're smiling now. Wait till some of the questions I ask you. So,
Oh, no.
Phil, I'll turn it over to you.
Right. Well, I want to thank y'all for being on. And the first thing I want to ask you, Coach, you come from Pennsylvania, coach up there for 20 years. How did you end up in the South at Covenant College? I mean, I know you had to be in a comfort zone being at the same school for 20 years. What brought you south?
Well, that's an interesting story, Phil. So this time last year, I was employed at a place called Clark Summit University. I'm actually in Clark Summit right now. We're visiting family. And on July 1st, the school officially closed. So I was unemployed. Basically, I was unemployed about this time last year too, but wasn't official at that point. Like most small schools, small private schools, especially in the Northeast, because of the population decrease for high school age kids, small schools are struggling, and we were no exception, and basically just ran out of money. I had worked at the school for all those years that I coached there as well, and I taught, had an administrative role, and I went to the school, was a graduate of the school, and loved it. It was, I figured I would retire there, but God had other plans, and we just basically ran out of money, and so the school closed, and that was, like I say, July 1st. At the end of the month, it was the last week in July, we're on family vacation in Ocean City, New Jersey, and I opened my email, and there's listserv things that post jobs, and I saw this head coaching position for Covenant College. And I had heard of Covenant. I had known a few people who were associated with it, who attended it, but really didn't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. So I did a little homework, did a little internet research, and said, okay, this sounds like a place that I could probably be comfortable at and would like to learn more about. So that day, I actually sent my resume to the athletic director. John Hurdy is our athletic director at Covenant. And John got a hold of me that very same day. And unbeknownst to me, the previous coach had left in early May. And so they were without a coach for almost, it was over 3 months in the end. And that's just kind of unheard of in college athletics. And they had a few other people they interviewed, but it didn't work out. And so anyhow, so Coach Hurdy got a hold of me. We had an interview the next day. I had another interview by the end of the week. I was still on vacation. And then 2 weeks later, my wife and I made a trip to Georgia, first time that we'd ever been to Chattanooga or that area, to Lookout Mountain. And my wife almost divorced me driving up the mountain the first time. As I don't know if you've ever been up those roads there, but it's a little hairy. But we survived that, and one thing led to another, and a few weeks later they hired me. So I was hired basically in the middle of August, right before school started. But because the school closed, I was looking for a job, and it turned out that this really was a great fit. We have enjoyed it immensely. My original investigation proved true. It was a school that I could be very comfortable at, share same values, same perspective, and spiritual depth. It's a great academic school, as you guys know, and honestly inherited a wonderful group of young ladies who wanted to play softball, wanted to be coached, and I walked into a very sweet situation, that's for sure. But that's how I got here. It was totally a God thing, as they say. I had no plans to move to Georgia or anywhere near the South, but here I am today. So,
I grew up in Chattanooga, so I was I've known about Covenant College, and the one things we always heard: great academic school, of course, a religious background school, and Castle in the Clouds. That's what we always called it. You can see it from the interstate. And so finally, after years, I got to drive through there, and it's just a great place just to drive through and visit, even if you don't stop. It's a beautiful area, but I've always heard a lot of good things about Covenant, of course. Well, speaking of since you're a home visiting family, to kind of get us to know a little bit about you, tell us a little bit about your family. I know you've got kids that are grown, but tell us a little bit about your family to give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, so my wife's name is Susan. We've been married 43 years now, I think it is, 42 or 43.
Coach, you better get that right.
And matter of fact, our anniversary is about 4 days, so I really better get it right. And we have 4 adult children, 2 in-law children. We have a son and his wife, Amy, son Andrew and Amy, that live in Vermont, and they live about as far north in Vermont as you can be. St. Johnsbury is the town, and they have a little boy. His name is Nicholas, and he's here around the house somewhere. And so he's our second grandchild. Our oldest lives in Normal, Illinois, and she is married to Isaac, and they have a 7-year-old. His name is Liam, and he's our oldest grandchild, so we have 2. And then we have 2 other sons that live here in this area, in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, which is a Scranton area, if you're familiar with Pennsylvania.
The office.
Yeah, there it is. Everybody knows the office. Yeah, absolutely. Been to all those places. But one works at a golf course. He's kind of the second in command there. And then our other son, Alex, is a track and field coach, cross-country coach, health and PE teacher, and athletic director at a local high school. So, yeah, they're all in their mid-30s to, I think Aaron is 41 now. So, yeah, that's our family. And my wife's name is Susan.
Yeah, all into their careers now. Well, Coach, I want to ask you this. When you come down here from Pennsylvania, of course, I guess you never dreamed of living in the South. Was it culture shock?
It's still culture shock, yeah. I'm still trying to learn the language. Apparently it's Maryville, not Maryville. And yeah, Fife and not Fife, and things like that. Lafayette is actually said Lafayette, which, up in Pennsylvania, that's Lafayette. So yeah, it's been a fun thing though. We've enjoyed it. People have been great. We've moved into a really nice neighborhood, and our neighbors have been just more than welcoming. We have certainly felt the Southern hospitality, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely so. The big thing down here, sweet tea and grits and those type of things that people up north don't know about.
Yeah, I don't think I've had any grits yet. I've certainly had my supply of sweet tea, but I haven't had any grits yet.
Have you not had grits? You'll have to try that before it's all said and done, because that's Southern hospitality. Because you may go visit somebody in the South sometime, and that may be what you have for dinner, especially something like shrimp and grits, because that's a big thing.
Yep.
Well, Coach, tell me this: your coaching background. What style of coach are you? Are you a big on detail? Are you very strict? Do you kind of let the players give them a little freedom? What is your coaching style?
It might be better to ask them that question. I don't know. I kind of have what I want to be. What I am probably is not always matching up with that. I would say the first thing that most of my players will say, I'm laid back as a coach, but I am intense. It's a delicate combination of those two things. I have my moments where I can be very intense, but I also like to have fun. And I realize coaching, I've worked with young people all my life. I was a youth pastor before I got into higher education, and working with college-age kids is such a joy. It's so fun. It keeps you young. But coaching is really teaching, is what it is. And, you're trying to teach the skills, the fundamentals of the game, doing all the things that should be done on the field. But it's way more than that. It's so much a part of it is the relationships, the stuff you do off the field, the connections. And a couple of ladies referred to it. One of the huge things that I knew we had to work on right from the start, and this came from the interviews, and that was we needed to reestablish a good culture for Covenant softball. And that's a huge thing for me. I think, you've probably all heard the old saying, culture eats strategy for lunch. And if you don't, you can be the smartest person in the world, you can be the smartest coach in the world, but if you don't have the right atmosphere, the right culture, the right team dynamics, it's going to work against you eventually. It's going to blow up on you at some point. And so that's huge for me. Obviously, as a coach, I want us to pay attention to details. I want us to play well. I want us to do the things. I would say I'm probably, coaching philosophy. We have a thing that we call our smack attack, which kind of outlines what we want to be. We want to be smart on defense. We want to be, M is elite mental toughness, aggressive on offense, and then the C is for our pitchers to be consistent in the circle. And that kind of defines our philosophy of play and how we want to do things. I'm very aggressive. The ladies will tell you that when it comes to base running, comes to offense. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers, but they might be you can ask them that when you're ready to.
Well, don't worry, we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've got to get them throw you under the bus a little bit, naturally.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and that kind of goes back, and you were talking about culture, and you and Olivia talked about it. There's been struggles, and I was wondering when you first come in. I mean, naturally, a team is going to be coach driven when you first start. It's just naturally the way it works. But as time goes on, you want to be player driven, and that comes with the change of culture. Do you feel like the team by the end of the year, we're getting to that point where they were more player driven?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, it's an interesting dynamic happened. It was probably more player driven before I got here than I had any idea, because in that absence of having a head coach, we had 5 seniors last year who stepped up, and Olivia was one of those, and just kind of took charge of everything. They acted as a group of coaches. And so they organized the team during the summer. They organized workouts. They had some Bible studies together. They had some group things together and did a fantastic job. And so when I got here, that groundwork had already been laid. And probably the smartest thing I did was say, okay, you 5 are going to be the captains. And they just set the example and, just picked it right up from there. That was the easy part for me. And their love for their teammates, their love for the game, showed. All their teammates knew that, and it was pretty natural to have them. They were already in that leadership role. It was just me saying, okay, give them a title, but they had already done that. And so that, and like you say, I talk about it with our ladies, the players on the team have to own the team. There has to be ownership, and they have to own what we're trying to do. If they don't, I don't care how good a coach you are, you're going to be fighting that battle all the time. But I did not have to worry about that. We had 17 ladies on our roster, and every one of them stepped up and contributed, led by the example of their older upperclassmen. And so I was very blessed to have that. And so in one sense, that culture change was not that hard. I just needed to crystallize it a little bit, put it into words for them, and kind of lead that process with them. But it was already going on, and so that was it is a big thing, and I don't want to say it's easy because you still got to get everybody to buy into it, but it wasn't a hard sell. I'll put it that way.
I understand that. Of course, you talk about a roster of 17. How many can you actually carry?
Well, that's a good question. I believe the official thing is 32 CAA now. Our goal is to get into the 30s so that we have a JV program. We'll be over 20 this year. We have 9 new kids coming in. We have 11 returners. And we're still working on a couple other ones. I can't tell you who they are. I'd get in trouble with the NCAA because one's a transfer, the other one's not committed, so I'm not allowed to say her name. But we're going to be at 20 or 21, 22 possibly. And that's probably a pretty solid number. Once we won't have a JV team next year, but if we get another class of 9 or 10 people the year after that, the 26 people, which we already have 3 commits to, we're already working hard on 26 recruiting now. But if we get that many, we will definitely have a JV roster or developmental team that will allow those players that wouldn't normally get a lot of PT, that'll give them a chance to get on the field, get some real work in.
In the future, are you going to have camps? Do you do camps now? And
Yeah.
also what I want, well, that one thing, the 2 parts here is what are some of the expectations for the players? What are some of their expectations you expect them to do in the off season?
Well, that's a good question. We already started our off-season conditioning program. So we have a program that they do. They can keep track of everything on their phone. There's an app for everything these days, right? So we have that. It actually customizes the workouts for them. We have a consultant that works with us on that. And so last week was our first official week of off-season conditioning. After the 1st of June, which isn't too far from now, we're going to talk about, getting some hitting in, some throwing. It's hard for most of them to get playing time during the summer. They're out of the travel ball circuit now. There are a few older leagues, but they're few and far between. So it's really hard for college age players to be on a regular team during the summer months. Some are able to do it, but we still will want them to do some individual work, pitchers throwing, hitters getting tee work and soft toss work or whatever. If they can get somebody to throw at them, that's great. And everybody can find someone to throw with. And we have dailies or every days, those type of things, all kinds of drills, all kinds of work that will be available for them. So we haven't started that portion of it yet. I want to give them some time off and let them get settled back home. But after the 1st of June, we'll get more serious about that. Oh, and you asked about camps. Yes, we do. So not full-blown camps, but what we call prospect camps, which is what most small D3 type schools do. And they're one-day things. And because we're in NCAA Division III, we can't do like tryouts. So I can't have a girl come to campus and give her a workout. That's against the NCAA rules. But when we have prospect camps, which is what we invite potential recruits to, we can. And so we treat it as that. It's a day camp tryout kind of situation. And we give them evaluations. And obviously it's hugely helpful for us as coaches because we get to see them, see what they can do. And it's helpful for them. They kind of get a taste of who we are, our team culture, and they can look around the campus and do all that stuff as well. So prospect camps are a really big thing, especially for D3 schools. And so, yes, we have one coming up in June 7th. Then we'll do another one. We've got another one scheduled for September 27th. And we may do another one in November. We did one last November. That went well. We had pretty good turnout for it. So we'll probably do another one around that time, either then or I may wait until right after the 1st of the year in January.
Well, I'll ask you one more question before we go to the girls. Okay.
Sure.
Division III, you're at a high academic school. What are you looking for in a player? And I'm sure the big thing is high academics naturally, because that's probably where most of the money is going to come from if their school's going to get paid. Yeah.
So we talk about it, when I talk about with recruits, I categorize it in 3 areas. And you already mentioned one, academics, right? The idea at Covenant that I learned they call the unicorn student is somebody with a 24 ACT, and that's about a 1200 ACT or SAT. Now, not all of our students are at that. That's kind of the average, to be honest with you. We have people that are less than that and do a great job. So I try to tell them, don't be scared by that. But we do want to set the standard there, and we do have that. And so that's what we're looking at. So academics is hugely important. Second of all, they have to be spiritually serious, meaning that, we want players and students at Covenant College that love the Lord, want to grow spiritually. They're going to be taught from all their academics, no matter what subject it is, sports management, elementary ed, or whatever. They're going to be taught from a biblical worldview and thinking about what does God have to say about this? How do we integrate our faith into what we are studying and the career paths that we're on? And then, of course, the third thing is athletic ability. And so, if we're high in all three of those are outstanding recruits. And I would add a fourth thing. It's sort of a subcategory to all this, and it goes back to the culture thing. I actually speaking with a girl today from Florida about this. It's, how do you relate? How do I see you fitting in relationally to our team? Because we want to bring in players who are going to fit into our culture, buy into it, and be a part of that, and are going to add to who we are. We don't want to inherit or bring in problems, quite honestly. As a coach, I'll just be frank with you, no coach wants that. And so, we are always trying to evaluate, will this young lady, fit into who we are? Will she contribute, not just on the field, but to our entire team dynamics and who we are, and be able to contribute? She may never get a chance to play, but I'll tell you, and I've had them, and we have players on our team that didn't get a lot of PT this year, but who are incredibly valuable to who we are and what we do, and are leaders in so many different ways. And so that's a huge part of it as well.
Well, Coach, one more thing I want you to comment on, and this kind of reminded me, most institutions in this country were based off of spiritual. I mean, that's the way everything started, but a lot of institutions have gotten away from that. And I guess this is where the administration of Covenant College comes in, have been able to keep that concept and keep that going, because I think it's very important. Talk about the administrative staff and how big they are in supporting not only athletics, but also academics and spiritual belief.
Yeah, absolutely. You are 100% correct on that, Phil. Yeah, it is who we are. It's the DNA of Covenant College. You have to share your personal testimony on your application to even be accepted. And so, there's a process there. And, for example, we have chapel 3 days a week. All students are expected to attend. They can take a few days off, but they know, that has to be a part of their regular routine. And chapel is a highlight. It really is. It's a really special time. We are blessed this year. I have a volunteer assistant coach who kind of came on late in the process, who was also the chaplain of our school, which is totally unheard of. And he is a hoot. He is, we have a great time with him. The ladies can tell you about him. But he also, having him there is a blessing to me. And it just, again, it reemphasizes who we are. We're not just softball players. We're not even here just because we're students. We're here because we want to grow in who we are in Christ and want to grow as people of God in whatever direction he's calling us to. And so it's woven in and out. I mean, when I got hired, I'm a lowly softball coach. I had to go through 3 administrative interviews before I was hired, including the president, and had a delightful time with him. And so, yeah, it's everywhere. It's integrated everything that we do, and it's not something that the school compromises on, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thing to hear. And, future prospects want to know these kind of things. I know that
Sure.
The Mavici family, Julie, we talked about, she's one of the signees that you've got coming in. And that's one of the things that their family was sold on, was Covenant College. And I wanted to read to you that I had talked to Jill, which is Julie's mother,
Yeah.
and she had made a quote that, I'm not going to go at, exact from quote, but she made the statement. She goes, I don't know if Julie's going to play softball or if she's going to inherit a grandfather. She said, she goes, we think so much of Coach Higley that, that's kind of the way, Julie's kind of looking at it. Speaking of her, and of course, I think her family's listening. What are the future plans possibly for her?
Well, Julie's an infielder. She's played mainly third base. She played this year. I think she's played some shortstop, second base. She's also pitched a little bit. She's just a really good athlete. I see her somewhere on the infield, not quite sure where yet. Got to see her play in their state championship last weekend again, and she had a great run. I believe she led the team in hits, or she was pretty close to it. She's athletic, and she's obviously, I know you know this, Phil, she is an incredibly brilliant young lady. And so, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be an honor to be her coach. And her family is just, they're a great family. We've had a lot of fun. They've accepted Susan and me just like we're family to them now. And it's been so much fun, really, to the whole Eider community. I feel like I'm part of the Eider Booster Club now. I've been to so many games and basketball games and softball games over there. Yeah, it's going to be fun to have her a part of our team. And she's a good athlete. She's a really solid player. She'll be on the infield somewhere. Not quite sure yet where. But
yeah, like you say, very bright young lady. And I think she kind of sort of gets hidden. She's a great straight softball player, but not one of those that really stands out most of the time, but very consistent.
Just steady. Yep. Very steady, consistent. You got it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I want to go to the young ladies. Let's start with you, Gracie. I can tell by the way you young ladies, kind of sort of nod at some of the answers. There's more we're here to talk about softball, but there's more, and this is going to be for all three of you. There's more to softball than Covenant College. Even if you didn't softball, it's a great place to be.
That is right.
Gracie, you first want to comment?
I would just say I personally never, if I'm being completely honest, I never thought I was going to commit to a Christian institution, but a lot happens and God moves in a lot of people's lives, and it has happened for the best for sure. And Covenant just has brought, the big word is community at Covenant. It's not just something they say, it's 100% a huge community. Everyone knows everybody, everyone supports everybody. So it's just something that makes Covenant so special.
Olivia?
Yeah, I just graduated from there, so it's very bittersweet leaving now because it's become my second home. But in my personal story, I started out at Berry College in my playing career, and I ended up transferring because I just felt so far from the Lord, and Covenant was offering me the opportunity to come back, and I was a little hesitant at first to even try and play softball. I just wanted to have a community that loved me like the Lord loves me. But I gave softball a second shot, and I played for the next 3 years, and I absolutely loved it. And I've made some of my best friends on this team. And it's just a testament to how Covenant just wraps you up in its arms, and it shows you the love of God, and it really just gives you the second home that you're looking for when you're far away from your family. So, yeah, Covenant has a very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Similar to Olivia, I transferred from Walter State Community College in Morristown, Tennessee. And it's like coming out of high school, I was looking at Covenant, but ultimately made the decision to go to Walter State. But leaving Walters and coming to Covenant, it's like I was going to Covenant for softball, but it became so much more. Like there's so much depth to Covenant, like outside of softball, and it absolutely is home. Like there's literally no place I'd rather be than Covenant.
Yeah, great answer. Well, Gracie, I want to go back. I know you introduced yourselves. Tell us a little bit, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about your family, who your mom and dad are, and, how are they as far as your supporting cast goes? Because I know all three of you ladies probably come from great families.
Yes, sir. So my mom, her name is Angela, and she's a nurse. And my dad, his name is Bruce, and he works at North Georgia Electric. I also have an older brother. His name is Isaac, and he is a financial advisor. So got to look up to him for sure. That's hard to beat. But my dad has just been like a big number one supporter with softball. And then my mom comes in with just like the academic perspective, and obviously they both come in with the more Christian side and saying, obviously this is going to be great for you, Gracie, and I couldn't wish for anything better. Like, my parents have supported me through so much, and they still support me to this day. And I'm just so thankful for my parents because they've definitely pushed me through some things for sure. And yeah, I'm sure they're watching, so thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Olivia.
So my dad is Tim. He works for HP, and my mom is a stay-at-home mom. And right when I graduated high school, I received necklaces from them. A butterfly was from my mom, and a pearl was from my dad. The butterfly signified that my mom was giving me my wings to fly on my own, and the pearl was the grit that my dad had instilled in me when I was playing softball. So they absolutely mean the world to me. They would call themselves two ships passing in the night because anytime there was games, they would they would go and watch me, and one would go watch my brother play baseball, and then they'd switch. So like they never missed a game. Anytime my heart was broken, just like from different things in my life, they were there to pick me back up and push me forward and to continue to just be my number one supporters. I couldn't be here without them. And I have two younger brothers, Jordan and Luke. They're my inspiration. They they look up to me, and I want to be the best big sister for them that I can be. So my whole family has been absolutely amazing and just pushing me and being the best softball player, student, and follower of Jesus that I can be.
Charlie.
So my dad is Travis Clark. He owns his own business as an electrician. His business is Volunteer Light and Sign, so give him a call. He's been lighting up Mount Juliet for 25 years.
Put the sign, put in the background there for you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a business card.
Okay, there you go.
My mom is Edie Clark. She works at our local water department. I've been playing softball since I was 4, and they have been my 2 biggest cheerleaders through it all, and have been such a good reminder that, there is more to life to softball, and they've just been there supporting me through it all, especially when I had surgery last May. I don't know if I would have gotten through it without them, honestly, and through the whole transferring process, just having my back, supporting me, always being an ear to hear, and yeah, I love them. And I also have a sister named Madison. She's awesome too. She's 12 years older than me, so it's like, I guess when we were younger, us hanging out was her basically babysitting, but now like I feel like we're closer than ever, and she's definitely one of my biggest fans for sure.
Well, Charlie, I want to follow it up. You was talking about transferring. Nowadays you see a lot of transferring, in the bigger college levels, the NIL and all the transfer portals and all that. Do you think nowadays it's a good thing to be able to transfer to another school? Because it used to be a big issue. It was a big problem. A lot of times when you got to a school, you were stuck there, and there's really nowhere else for you to go. Do you like the way things are now to where you can up and leave if you feel like that's not where you need to be?
Well, so I came from a junior college, and being, starting your career at a junior college, your goal is to initially get to a 4-year school. Just because of my personal experience, I just decided a year earlier was fine by me. But as a sport management major, we do have this conversation a lot about the transfer portal, NIL, all that. Honestly, I'm not sure if there's like a answer that could cover all the bases. People have their reasons for transferring, and I'm glad in some cases if an athlete had an experience similar to mine, I would hope that they would be able to transfer and all that. But I think more transferring for NIL or just being hopping in the portal every chance you can, it's just, I don't know, not something I can personally support. But
yeah, it seems to kind of water things down just a little bit. I know that I'm a big Tennessee fan, and you have all these transfer portals. It gets to where you don't know who's who. That's like I was talking about one day with all this transfer stuff. They were showing COVID pictures of a football game, and everybody was sitting all spread out. And I'm like, that's what the future is going to be, because people ain't going to be able to afford to go to games. It's going to be $300 for a seat, and then you'll have to buy a program that costs about $50 because you don't even know who's on your own team. So, it's kind of sort of things are kind of out of whack right now. Would you say that, Coach Higley?
Wow. Well, this is a can of worms, right?
Yeah.
Let me say this. We have 4 transfer girls at Covenant last season. I am so grateful for every one of them. 2 of them are right here on this call. And we were blessed by having all 4 of them, and different personalities, different reasons why they transferred, but they all ended up at Covenant some way, how or another. And so I'm so grateful for that. And, that side of it. And I think in all 4 cases, they were at somewhere that just didn't fit them well. For whatever reasons, it didn't work out. And I think all 4 transferred for the right reasons. As Charlie referenced, though, you've got the other extreme. And it's hitting Division III now, too. Everything starts at the top and it kind of, comes down. And so, you've got the other extreme where people, coaches talk about this. You want to build a program. So in order to build a program, you've got to have people who are going to be committed to that for 3 or 4 years. Well, if somebody comes and they don't get the PT that they think they should and they leave, it's really hard to build consistency and build a program that way. And it is starting to affect Division III. And so, I'm the old guy, so, get off my lawn kind of person. But it's interesting. We're going to lose one girl this year, but for all the right reasons. She's transferring because of academics. And I know she would love to stay. Matter of fact, while I was sitting here, I got a text from her. So it's, there are good reasons and right reasons to do it. And I'm glad that the rules have, loosened up so that people can do that when it's a right situation for them. But I think we've gone to the extreme, and everybody knows the Tennessee quarterback situation. You look at some of the college basketball teams where they're turning over their entire roster every year. I don't know how you do that as a coach. I mean, and that's why, people like Nick Saban aren't coaching anymore, right? Because it's just changed, the dynamics of everything. And, it's not as extreme for us, for sure. We potentially may have 1 transfer student come in next year. She's still in process. I don't necessarily go out looking for them. She came to me, and so I'm willing to, if that's so we're not in a position where we need to go look for them. I would say this, and this is one of the biggest differences for me coming from where I was to Covenant. In the Northeast, there's not a lot of junior colleges. I mean, there are a lot, but it's not a big thing. As big as it is in the South, in the Southeast, where there are some fantastic JUCO college softball programs. And there's a bunch, right around us. Chattanooga State, I think they're in the national championships this week. You got Georgia Highlands. You got all kinds of schools in Alabama and Georgia, Tennessee. And so there's a bunch of ladies out there that I'm sure are outstanding, young people that sure I would love to have them. And I think from my recruiting aspect, that's one thing I probably need to do better at as I get more settled and understand things a little bit better, and start to be more aggressive in looking for them. But, coaches talk about it like this. This is my last thing. I don't want somebody else's problems. So if you didn't like it over there, tell me why you didn't like it over there. And I know your coach, and I think, he or she's a pretty good person. I can't imagine, why it didn't work for you there. And so, yeah.
Hey, and I understand, Joe Guthrie is local. They've got, they've just started Northeast Alabama Junior College, just started, and he's the head coach there. And he talks about that he came from Texas A&M, and the development's not there anymore because players leave and transfer. Yeah. He's at a junior college, and he said players are being pushed down to that level because everybody's on a wait list. Well, if this happens, so now they're starting to go to junior colleges, but that's a good thing because now they can move up into big, like if they go to Northeast for 2 years, they can go to Covenant for 2 years.
And the NCAA changed the rules this year, and so it's going to help the JUCO schools a lot. They've limited the roster sizes, and they did that in baseball and softball. The good news for the student athlete is everybody on the roster can get a full scholarship now at Division I and Division II, but they're limited on their size. You're not going to see Tennessee with 60 guys on their roster anymore. I think 40 is the limit that they can have now. For softball, I think it's 24 or 25. I could be wrong about that, but it's in that range somewhere. So that's exactly what's happened. There are kids who are on some, Division I teams that won't have a position and won't have a spot on the team anymore. And so they're getting pushed down to, a lot of 2-year schools. So that's a good opportunity for them for sure. There's a
especially with the NIL, it's a great time for development, and that's what Joe Guthrie talks about. Is he loves the development of being at that junior college level.
Yeah.
Well, Olivia, I want to go back to you. I want to follow up. What is your fondest memory that you're going to remember? I know you're out from Covenant now. What is your fondest memory?
So I didn't get to do it a lot this season because I was student teaching and I missed out on a couple of games. But my fondest memories come from traveling. So we would take a bus to the different locations that we were playing at, and the amount of inside jokes and fun memories that come from those trips will always live inside my head. My personal favorite is when we would play a game called Among Us. And if you don't know what it is, that's fine, but I'm sure some viewers will know. But it was just so fun to see teammates pretend to be somebody else, and then it would get really competitive, and it was a bunch of fun, and a lot of fun jokes came from it. And just those moments on the bus, just getting to know your teammates outside of an academic standpoint and a softball standpoint, just truly getting to know the person in a more intimate setting was just the best for me. I loved it.
Well, on a veteran team, do you think that's what really brings a team together, is that travel? Because you really get to spend some quality time together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just like what I said before, those intimate moments where you're kind of outside of all these different realms. It's, everybody's getting comfortable. And you're sleeping in hotel rooms with each other. You have to get used to how somebody runs their everyday life. And you're just kind of seeing a different side to them. And it is truly beautiful to get to know your teammates in that light, because outside of that, you wouldn't really know, because you just kind of see them at practice or you see them in the classroom, and that's all you get. You just kind of get this front. But when you're in a more comfortable setting, you get to really see the true them shine out in front of you. And it's just really fun.
Yeah, because that's one of those things where you have to count on each other. Sometimes you may have to borrow a hairbrush or anything. So somebody's forgotten something. Gracie, I'll let you comment on that type of thing. Also, I want to ask you, what do you think about this guy right here? What do you think about Coach Higley? What kind of impression has he made on you?
Coach Higley, he keeps me humble, I will say, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, because there's always room for improvement, and he's always there and just saying, Gracie, you're doing great at this, but there's this one thing. And I'm like, you're right. It's always just the little things. I'm like, you're right, Coach. But he's still in my corner rooting for me, and he's still pushing me. And I love the push. I need the push. And but I know he's going to be in my corner fighting for me. We've had some questionable calls this year, and I never doubted that Coach Higley was going to go up to the umpire and be like, are you sure? because everybody knows I can get a little aggressive sometimes. And Coach Higley is just right there with me. He's just like, yeah, was that? So great impression of Coach Higley for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What about Charlie? What about you? What do you think about this guy?
I don't know if there's enough words, but this guy right here has, honestly, I couldn't ask for a better coach. He has made me fall in love with the game again, given softball new life for me. Him and we call her Mrs. Coach, but Susan, they're just great examples of, a strong family and strong faith, and they just love us more deeply than just on the field. It's all the times off the field. It's during the traveling. It's just he loves attention to detail. He's a competitor, and I'm competitive. His one of his favorite sayings is, "You either do it right or do it again." He keeps us honest. He pushes us, and yeah, he's just resilient.
What about you, Olivia? What's your impression?
Well, as one of his captains, I can say he is one of the best coaches I've ever had. Coming into this year, and he talked about it at our team party at the end of the season. It was kind of hard for us to let go of that control that we had, because we were so ready to step up for our teammates and to give them the year that they deserved. But to have somebody come in and fight for us in the same way that we were already fighting as seniors was such a blessing. And it was very easy to give over that control, because he wanted the exact same things that we did, and was ready to fight for us in all aspects that we wanted to have things done. And it was just so comforting to know that somebody who had just entered into our program was so ready to be in our corner and to fight for us. And not only that, like what Charlie and Gracie have said, there's just him and his wife are like such a reflection of Christ's love and like servitude and everything that you would want in somebody to be in your corner. And it was just an amazing season with him. A best way to go out, honestly, with him as the head coach. So yeah, he's pretty great. He's all right.
Yeah. All right. The great answers. Okay. Now I want to ask y'all this. I think, Coach Higley is going to be out there on the recruiting trail, but a lot of times these young ladies come visit. I want you all three to, if you get to talk to a prospect, what do you tell them? Why, what would make you tell them, or what would you tell them to make them want to come to Covenant? We'll start with you, Gracie.
Okay. I think, well, obviously, just we do everything to glorify God, everything. And I've read so many books over this past semester. It's just like making your bed, you're glorifying God. Brushing your teeth, you're glorifying God. Just how we play softball, we're glorifying God, and we're doing our homework. Just like the family that like the team is, it's just insane, because I could hear all these past stories, just like they don't necessarily know one another. And for your team to really be successful, you need to know the ins and the outs of the girls that you are playing with. And that's just what makes our team so special, even though like our season may have not went the way that we hoped it would. But we had like an amazing spring break trip where we played some games, and I don't think I've ever laughed so much in a week in my life, because just the girls are awesome. And the campus is awesome. It's beautiful. The people there are awesome. Coach Higley's obviously awesome. So there's nothing really negative I could say about Covenant. It's just a great place. And just I love it. So I don't know what more I could say.
Olivia?
Well, I've done a lot of prospect talking over the years. I was usually go-to person to show around campus and stuff. So I would kind of become like the tour guide. I would show everybody like the dorm rooms, the cafeteria, the different things all around campus that would really give them an insider look. Something that really means a lot to me, because, going to a different school, it feels like you kind of put on a facade of like, oh, this place is great. You should come here. We want numbers. And that's what I felt like, some of the places that I was going to was just kind of like giving me, and just, yeah, like, here's our beautiful pictures. Please give us the money. But that's not like what I wanted to do when I saw prospects. I really wanted to give them like a true look at like what this will look like. So I'm usually very open. Like, there are going to be hard days. Like, this is a very hard school, but there are so many resources on campus that will help you and be gracious in getting you the help that you need to be successful here academically. And not only that, but also having the support that you need spiritually. So if you feel like you're lacking in your faith, or you feel like you're not getting like different things that you need to grow in your faith, like there are resources and there are people willing to help you. So, and even like softball, like I tell them, like, having practice every day is hard when you have classes. And like, I'm being open and honest with you because nobody really prepares you for this when you enter college. And so I want to show you my heart and how I'm going through college, but I'm telling you this place is worth it because this place brings you into a family and they make you feel like you're at home. So that's usually what I tell prospects. And I just tell them like all the wonderful things that I love about Covenant as well. And I've kind of talked about it earlier, but yeah, so I kind of give them both sides of like, yeah, it'll be hard, but it'll be totally worth it.
Sounds like you need to be a recruiting coordinator.
She does a great job with it.
What about you, Charlie?
I have told recruits, be ready to be more than softball. Like, I could sit here and we can talk about softball for as long as you want, but it is way more than softball. This is, you're building your career, you're building your resume, you're surrounding yourself around the right people. You have to be ready to grow in every single aspect, those big three that we talked about. It's definitely not easy. It's no walk in the park. You have to, be self-motivated, be determined, be ready, to work for yourself, work for the sisters alongside you, be ready to work for your coaching staff. Like, it's all hands on deck for sure. And yeah, I lost my thought, but all I can say is just, if you're coming here, be ready to be a part of something great, because that's all we want.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I want to ask you to do one more thing, then I'll turn it over to Howie. I know Coach Higley come from up north. Gracie, are there some things he says that y'all kind of sort of get tickled at? Because naturally he's going to have a little different slang. Is there some things y'all kind of secretly make fun of? Or even openly?
Secret. Yeah.
Yeah, or even openly. Yeah.
I don't know. Guys, can y'all think of anything? Like, I don't know.
Not anything north-wise, because I am originally from Massachusetts, so I understand his northern slang. I moved down to Georgia when I was around 13, but I get tickled when he tries to use southern slang. So when he says, y'all better line up, we're like, it's you guys from the north, but that's okay.
Bless your heart.
I will say, so maybe y'all won't be familiar with this term, but one thing we have got Coach Higley to start saying is sweet treat. And Coach Higley knows how important our sweet treats are. And sweet treat is just like a milkshake or something, just some kind of dessert. And if we wanted a sweet treat, Coach Higley was always going to get us a sweet treat.
Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah.
We had a question early on, and from a good friend of ours that's on RiverCity-Media, Frankie Culpepper. And we've got the two perfect people to answer this in Olivia and Charlie. And the question is, how important is the pitcher-catcher relationship in softball?
Charlie,
yeah, I'll start this. It is vital, and I mean absolutely vital, to have chemistry with your catchers. I described Olivia as like my tissue almost. Like, when things are going bad, she'll, wipe it up. She'll catch my tears. Like, she's definitely tasked to handle all sorts of things that a pitcher needs. It's just a relationship of trust, and I don't trust her. Like, I trust her and Ashlyn more than probably anybody as my catchers. Like, they are just awesome. And another big part of that is our catchers calling signs, and I'll let Olivia talk about that.
Yeah, so Charlie, I love that you gave me that, because I was going to talk about it right after you were done. We were calling signs this year, and that was such a huge step for us because we hadn't in the past. And Ashlyn and I had been working really hard in the bullpen before that over the years to try and like create this really like fluid relationship with our pitchers, so then we would know what pitch they wanted to throw before they even knew. And that's like getting to know your pitchers on a completely different level. But I've seen it in the past where you don't have a good pitcher-catcher relationship and your whole team can fall apart. Because what we call ourselves is the battery. and we really charge up the whole team because, you know, the game really rests on us because we're involved with every single pitch. We touch the ball every single pitch. And the way that we carry ourselves and the way that we communicate with one another really sets the tone for how we're going to do that game. It's a big task, but it's totally doable when you have a good pitcher-catcher relationship. And that takes like having fun dinners with each other, or just like going out for coffee and getting to know each other on a different level than just softball. So,
Coach, your input on this real quick.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely huge. Yeah, if your pitchers and catchers do not communicate well, do not get along well, don't trust each other, it's going to be difficult for everybody else as well. We talk about it. One of the terms we use is big body language. And there is no more important people on the field than our pitcher and catcher to have that proper body language, that confidence, that conviction that they know what's going on, they're going to handle it. I'm very blessed. We had two really experienced catchers this year. And so the first time in my 25 years of coaching, I allowed the catchers to call the pitches. And they did a great job. It was one of the good decisions I made all year. Probably won't be that way next year because we're going to not have the experience that we had. But allowing them to do that. And so that just really helped them build that chemistry. Yeah, Coach Fred, if you're talking about it, anything that you can do to strengthen that relationship, it's only going to help your team. It's only going to help them as individuals too, to grow. I think more catchers should be calling pitches. That's a whole nother conversation, but yeah, they know what the pitchers are doing. They can see it far better than I can from the dugout. And I think it's just, there's a lot of advantages to having that.
Olivia, how upset or how many times did you get with Charlie when she would shake you off, tell you no?
Interestingly enough, Charlie wouldn't shake me off very often unless it was a changeup that she didn't want to throw. But what I would always tell her when she shakes me off, I have a rule. If you shake me off, you better throw it for a strike. And it's just a funny thing that I say because it's like either trust me and throw the pitch that I'm telling you to throw, or throw a strike, because either way it's going to be a good result. But that was just a funny thing that I used to tell her, and she took it seriously this year. And I was like, wait, no, that's not really serious. But yeah, no, I just would go out and talk to Charlie just to break up momentum in the game, tell her a couple of jokes, and then head back to my spot. But that was about it.
Charlie, if I was your catcher, I'd keep on throwing the same sign down every time. You shake it off, I'd throw it back down again until you threw it.
Yeah, I don't like shaking off my catchers because talking about that trust we were talking about earlier, just I'm trusting that she sees something that I don't, and that she knows, my staff of pitches well and would know what's best for the situation. She's looking where they're standing. We have a girl in the dugout that's telling, what did they do last time? We have all sorts of factors playing into that. And so, yeah, my changeup was kind of a love-hate relationship sometimes this season. So that was mainly the only one that I really shook off. But I had my full confidence in Liv and Ashlyn this whole season. So,
Gracie, you said something earlier that it really shocked me when you said it, and it was you were more of the aggressive type with the umpires. To me, it seemed like you just kind of laid back and everything. But are you like a different person on the field?
She's a little fireball, let's just say it.
Yeah, I'm a fireball. As soon as I step in between those chalk lines, I am a different person. It's go time. Whenever you step in those lines, it is go time, for sure.
We've kept y'all for a little over an hour. Sorry about keeping you so long, but I got a couple more questions, and then we'll let you get out of here because I know y'all got other things y'all would rather be doing than talking to me and Phil.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a get to know y'all type thing, and baseball/softball players are notorious about superstitions/rituals. We'll start with Charlie. Did you have any that you had to do before game day or on game day?
I know people are superstitious about their hair, but I wasn't really. But I did have like probably the same two people do my hair before each game. Shout out Tisha and Cass. Yeah, they're great. I would listen to some music that would get me in game mode, but I guess ritual wise, it's mainly my warm up. I do the same exact warm up every single day, every single time I throw, and so.
Olivia?
So my grandpa passed away around 2 years ago, and when he did, I asked my grandmother what his favorite jersey number was when he was playing football and baseball, and she told me number 40. And so I would get a piece of tape to wrap around my wrist, and I had a lot of people ask me, who's number 40? Is my grandpa. So I would always make sure that he had a part of the game with me, because when I was first getting started, he would throw with me a lot out in my backyard. So it was kind of heartbreaking to not have him see me finish up my career, but I still feel like he had a part in being there with me when I had him on my wrist. So that was a big thing for me. I didn't feel complete without having that on my wrist. I would also have my two necklaces, the butterfly and the pearl, to have a symbol of my mom and my dad. And I would do the same warm up for hitting every single time. I just wouldn't feel right going into the game if I didn't have that warm up with hitting. So those were my superstitious things.
All right, Spitfire.
So I would say mine. Sometimes it would come down to hair. It would really just depend. So if I did like bubbles the last week and I performed really well, I'm doing bubbles again. But then once those don't work, I'll go to a different hairstyle. And also, I would like to. This might sound crazy, but I would look myself in the mirror and tell like myself that I can do it. And I imagine myself getting all these crazy hits, making all these crazy plays, stealing all the bases. And it just gets me in the right headspace.
Coach Higley, how did you like to fix your hair on game days?
Well, I got no hair, so this is it's pretty easy for me.
Did you have any superstitions or ritual that you had to do, Coach?
No, not really. I always do the lineup, so yes, if we had a good game, I make sure I hang on to that pen and use that same pen again for the next game. If we didn't have a good game, that pen goes wherever. I don't care.
Yeah.
And the Twizzlers.
And Twizzlers, yeah, they learned real early on. So I told them this: if I start to chirp at the umpires or start to say something that probably I shouldn't be saying, there's always a supply of Twizzlers in my bag. My wife makes sure that I have them. You grab one and shove that in my face, and that will talk while I'm eating a Twizzler.
Oh,
they're pretty good about it. Yeah, they're pretty good about it.
That's great. I kind of joked around with you, Gracie, called you Spitfire. Who had the coolest nickname on the team?
That's a
Names.
Or did y'all have nicknames for anybody else?
They called me Gobby, and it's short for Goblin. So
I think Gracie has
yeah. I would turn into a goblin once it was game time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out why they were called. What do you call her? Gobby?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Phil kind of touched on it earlier, and I'll ask y'all the same question. Kind of, who did the best impression of Coach Higley when he wasn't around?
Coach Chap, probably.
Yeah. We did a video on our Instagram of him, of all of us doing impressions of everybody who was next to us in the lineup, or like our jersey numbers, and we had our coaches involved in it. And Coach Chap did one for Coach Higley. It's really good.
So I've got one more question. Like I said, my questions are basically just kind of getting to know y'all a little bit. And my last question, then we'll let y'all get out here. And we'll start with Olivia on this one. Favorite music that you wanted to listen to or had to listen to on game day?
I'm a big country girl. It's not really like the right pump up music. I get it, but it just like it relaxes me. It was my walk-up song for a good 2 years in college, and it would just kind of relax me and get me into the right headspace. I'm not more of like a raw kind of person right before game day. I'll do that when I'm in between the lines, but I'm more like chill out, get my headspace right, and then go into the game and get fired up.
And what was your walk-up song?
My walk-up song was "Love That About You."
Okay.
Yeah, I forget who's by, but yeah.
Charlie?
I would. Mine's a rapper. His name's Juice World. He sadly passed away, but yeah, his playlist I definitely would get me in like a hype, I would say, mindset going into games. Just very intense.
Gracie?
Well, I like to listen to Metallica. And my walk-up song was Inner Sandman, so it fits me perfectly, I would say.
And Coach Higley, do you have any type of music you?
That's a good one, though. I have to say that's
It's
a good
one, isn't it?
That's a good one. Hey, I've always wanted to go to Virginia Tech, and sometime I'm going to watch them come on the field to enter Sandman. Someday I'm going to go do that.
Well, that was Mariano Rivera's song, right? Every time he came out of the bullpen. Yeah, to answer your question, it's kind of old school rock and roll. I like a lot of stuff like that. So my walk out song to the mound, and I would sometimes just walk out to the mound just to hear my song, or the circle, is Every Girl's Crazy About a Sharp Dressed Man. So there you go.
Hey, talking about Metallica and Inner Sandman at Virginia Tech, they put on a concert there about a month ago, and they said that place was rocking. That was a finishing song that they played, and they said that place went ballistic when they started playing that song. So, ladies, Olivia, you can't really help me on this one here, but Charlie and Gracie, you can help me out on this. Make sure this next season, Coach gets some grits at some time.
Yeah. I sure will.
We will make sure. We will make sure.
Hey, I do want to ask one question. When y'all are on the road, we usually ask this to softball teams. Who makes the decisions on where you stop and eat at? I think sometimes that can be a controversy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with our team,
Here, Coach Higley. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
with our team, we are a little difficult because we have some peanut allergies, we have some gluten-free allergies, lactose intolerant. So it's a little difficult. But one of our teammates, her name's Mila. She couldn't be here tonight, but I'm sure she's watching. Mila helps Coach Higley decide all of the things like that. So shout out to Mila because she comes in through for us for sure with the meals.
She looks up every menu and makes sure that everybody's dietary restrictions can be
She does a great
accommodated.
job with that. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I would just
Coach,
say, everybody, we're eating at McDonald's. I don't care what your food allergies are, but that's Mila's much more caring about that. But we do have one favorite stop, though. It became our place, a Culver's outside of Birmingham, and we're on a first name basis with the staff there. Culver's seemed to have everything. Everybody could eat something at Culver's, and it was great. And so, yeah, that became our go-to place.
We have
I
one
might try
coach
that. I have to go to Birmingham a lot to the doctor for my liver, so I may have to try that out. I've never heard of it. So,
it's good stuff.
Hey, something we didn't do, Coach. We didn't mention the rest of the softball team. Will you go through the rest of the play right fast? Because if they're listening, they'd like to hear their name.
Oh, man. Now you're going to really put me on the spot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, y'all keep count and make sure he gets them all.
All right. So we had 5 seniors this year. We had Olivia Catchin. She had a twin sister, not really her twin, but Ashlyn Gaines, who also caught. So that one of them would catch. Typically, one of them would catch, the other would DP. We had Kathleen Carpenter, who plays first base. She was also a senior. And Helena Nagy played third base for us. And who am I missing? Oh, well, Olivia. No, I said you. Izzy. Oh, yes. Isabella Duran. Izzy Duran. She's from Tampa Bay, Florida. Izzy was actually all conference for us as a second baseman. She had a great year. Okay, that's 5. Okay, juniors. We have 3 juniors. So we have Cassidy Phillips. Cassidy was kind of a utility player for us. Probably played more third base than anything else, but really reliable, consistent. I knew I could put her anywhere and she could handle the job. Let's see, we have, who am I missing? Oh, no, Tisha, she's not a junior. Oh, Madison Taylor. Madison Taylor's our right fielder. Kaylee Barnett, who also was a utility player for us. She played a lot of outfield. She also played some infield for us. And so those three will be our three seniors next year. Now, this is where it gets tough, the junior class. Let me go to the freshmen first. We had two rookies this year. Emma Baltzinger, she is from Florida. Emma is mainly an outfielder, but we're converting her to catcher because she has this thing on the side of her arm. It's a rocket. And she probably throws the ball harder than any player I've ever had. Would that be accurate, ladies?
Yeah.
A gun on the side of her body there. And so we're trying to convert her to catcher. It's been a slow process. She did a lot of bullpen work for us this year. And it's going to be exciting to see what happens next year. And then Haley Russell. Haley is from Tennessee, up around Knoxville area. And she played mainly left field for us this year and had a really, really good year. She was one of our most consistent hitters and did a great job. So let's go to the juniors. So we got Gracie. Gracie was our starting center fielder for the whole season. Did an outstanding job for us, our leadoff hitter most of the season. By the way, she hit her first career home run towards the end of the season, and it was an exciting day for a slapper to hit her first home run. That was exciting. So let's see, Gracie. Okay, we have Mila still. Mila plays shortstop. She was the one that was hurt. We have Tisha Holland, who plays first base. And who am I missing? Let me see. We got Tisha. Maddie Bowden, yeah. Maddie is a pitcher who also is a really good hitter. She was really probably our number 3 pitcher this year. And she needs to get more at bats. So that's one of our big goals for next year. Okay, so there's Maddie. Who else am I missing?
Charlie.
Well, Charlie, of course. Yeah, she's right here. Yeah.
Lauren, Lexi.
Lauren.
Yes. Okay. Lexi Tinknell. She is from the Decatur area in Alabama. Lexi was probably as close to being a redshirt this year as you could be. She played every game. She was on the roster every game, but she had major knee surgery back in the fall. I didn't think she'd get back, but she proved me wrong. She was still limited in what she could do, but she's an incredibly strong young lady, so she's a great pinch hitter for us. So we're excited to see when she gets back to full strength what she's going to contribute to for us for next year. And Lauren Edgar, but Lauren is the one that's transferring. She was one of our other pitchers, great young lady, and we're going to miss her. But it's for academic reasons, she needed to consider something else. And so not because she did poorly academically, she's a great student, but the major just wasn't lining up for her. And so she's looking at other options. Actually, already had a couple conversations with other coaches recommending her to them. So we're going to miss her, but yeah. So that's our 11. Well, that's our roster of 17. 11 of them will be back. And like I told you earlier, we have 9 new girls that are coming in.
That's awesome. One last thing, and I promise I'll let you go after this.
Sorry.
And Gracie kind of hit on it earlier. Gracie's hitting on everything that's coming to my mind today. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but Gracie kind of hit on it. What we do before we let everybody go is we let everybody give a shout out to whoever they want to, as many people as they want to, and it don't have to be softball related. Don't have to be called, just whoever. So Gracie, we'll start with you and work our way around.
I want to give a shout out to my little sister that's going to be on the team next year. Her name is Lily, and she is from the Florida area. She seems like an absolute dog, and I just cannot wait to see her just grind on the field next year, and I'm so excited.
Is that it?
That is all.
Olivia?
I'm going to give a shout out to the head coach that I'm going to be working with next year, Sean Oliver. He works at Fellowship Christian. He's the head baseball coach, and his team reached playoffs this year. They just ended their season recently, but they did a great job, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. So that's my shout out.
Charlie?
My shout out is going to be Coach B. We call her Coach B, but it's Coach Haley Brown. She was our pitching coach this season, and she has, helped me through so much, even outside of just pitching. She gives great insight to the game. We think a lot alike, so just being able to have her support and her guidance through this season was just absolutely amazing.
Coach Higley.
Yeah, so we hit three of our coaches, so there's one more that we should mention. Coach Rebecca Surface, she's our assistant coach to me. I coached Rebecca in college and hired her to be our assistant, and she's done a great job. These ladies and the rest of their teammates just did a wonderful job of accepting her and welcoming her and making her feel part of it. She too is from Pennsylvania, so it's a big move for her. And these, to their credit, they accepted her, and she's a great young lady. But I do want to, one more list. I'm going to tell you who our 9 recruits are, because I know a few of them. We got 4 Alabama girls, so I'm excited about that. We got Bree Tyson from Heritage Christian over in Decatur. We got Elizabeth Yother from Yeshiva Hills. Is that how you say it?
Vestavia.
Vestavia. I never say it right correctly.
Yeah.
We got Julie Mavity, who you already mentioned. And then we also have Brooklyn Morton. Brooklyn is from Curry, and she plays on a really top-level high school team. They got to the state championship, but couldn't quite pull it out. They lost to that softball machine down there, Orange Beach, they call it. I don't know how they get players there, but they do. And then we have one girl from Alabama, or one girl from Georgia. That is Sam Jones. She's from down the Rome area. We have 3 Florida girls, 2 of them from Miami, of all places, Rebecca Diner and Megan Porras. And then we have Lily Campbell. She's from the Naples area, Florida. And then I mentioned earlier, before we got on the air, we have Eliza Furman. Eliza is from Dubai, and she was a young lady that I knew before I got to Covenant, and she had already been looking at Covenant, and so when I got hired here, it was kind of a natural thing, and she's coming to play for us, so it's going to be fun to have her.
I've got to ask. I'm sorry. I know I said I'll let y'all go, but I've got to ask. How did you get someone from Dubai?
Yeah. She found us. No,
Yeah.
actually, I first found her on one of the recruiting sites, and I remember reading her bio. So there's kind of things that I have to look for to give me indications, is this somebody that might be a fit? And she did her thing, and on there she said her dad is a pastor of a church in Dubai. Well, whenever somebody tells me their dad is a pastor, that's a good hint for me to probably do a little investigation of they might be a great fit for. And the school I was at in Clark Summit was a Christian school as well. And so I sent her a note, and we had some contacts, and that's been almost 2 years ago that I first had contact with Eliza. And her family is just such a great family. They've become really special friends to Susan and me. And so, yeah, it's just going to be fun having her on the team. She's a very good athlete, too.
It's definitely going to be a culture shock, that's for sure. Well, Coach, I want to add one thing. I know wins and losses, and you've coached for a lot of years, but what keeps you going in coaching, or probably moments like this, is relations with the people you work with, and then the young ladies that you coach. Is that what keeps you going in this?
Oh, absolutely. I think about like where we started, where I was a year ago. One of the blessings of all this is all these new friendships and these special ladies and all the other ones that are on the team and their families. They all talked about their mom and dads. They accepted Susan and me just like we were part of their family. And, that is just, that's why you do it, as a coach, as a teacher, the opportunity to influence young people and to, give them a little bit of who you are, and then to watch them flourish, to watch them go with that, and they'll accomplish things that I could never dream of. And so I have a small part in that, but it's the relationships, and I still have, we still have great relationships with so many of the players that have played for me over the years. And we have it, with a new group of ladies this year, and even these ones coming in, we're pretty good friends already with most of their families. And It's fun to be a part of that, to think that I get paid to do that. Wow. That's awesome.
Well, Coach, ladies, we appreciate your time. Sorry we kept you so long.
It's all right.
Coach, Gracie, Charlie, we'd love to have you come back. Olivia, we'd like to have you come back too, but you're moving on to bigger and better things. So, Olivia, how did it go? You was the one that seemed like you was a little bit nervous about coming on here, but how did it go for you?
It went really well. I talk a little bit much, so I was a little nervous about over talking. So.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. Y'all did a great job. We appreciate it. We'd love to have y'all come back. Like I said, Olivia, you're moving on. But Gracie, Charlie, Coach Higley, we'd love to have you come back on maybe before the season starts. Give us a
Sure.
season preview of what's going to happen next year, and maybe Gracie will calm down by then, and won't be the spitfire in between the chalk next
No, I don't want her to calm down. She's
No.
Yeah. And you gentlemen are welcome to come up on campus anytime. We'd love to have you. Show you around, and anytime you want to come up, let us know. We'd be grateful to have you.
Hey, I love coming up there, especially to catch a ball game.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Anytime.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because I got to come up and see Julie play sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, we're going to get out of here. We're going to let y'all get out of here. So if y'all just hang tight for a second, I'll close this out. So for Phil Harris, our great guest tonight, Coach Higley, Gracie, Olivia, and Charlie from Covenant Softball, thanks for joining us. Good night and God bless everybody.
Thank you.